1, 2, 3, and 4 of the regulation on appointment and conditions of employment. The EFF note and agree to the report.
Thank you, Councillor Nhlapo. Councillor Hooper from the DA.
Good day, Speaker. Rise to speak on item 36, commencement of the recruitment and selection process for the Executive Director of Economic Development. Greetings to all councillors, officials, staff, guests present in the gallery, and residents observing these proceedings, all protocol observed. Speaker, we unfortunately do not support the opening of this recruitment and selection process, notably because the former Executive Director could still interdict this hiring process, and money could be squandered in the recruitment and selection process of someone new while the incumbent is still taking the city to the South African Local Government Bargaining Council. Yet, legally speaking, if and when the hiring process continues at a later time, we humbly request that the process is shielded from any form of undue influence, political interference, or outright employment corruption. The Economic Development Department and the Johannesburg Property Company, which it oversees, is crucial to attracting investment and new business to the city, thereby creating much-needed jobs. Despite the Government of Local Unity's organizational culture that is opposed to the supposedly evil, exploitative, and untrustworthy private sector, we need the city's economic development function to be led by a capable and committed official that will proactively partner with the non-profit and for-profit sectors. The city needs an impartial executive director that can implement strategic interventions and programs that assist in training, developing, coaching, and supporting entrepreneurs, traders, restaurateurs, property developers, and small business owners across the city. We need a hard-working, experienced, and independent-minded professional that understands the world of business and basic economics, not some aloof anti-business elitist selected from a secret list or political WhatsApp group. The city and its economy is too important to this country and to this continent to fail. When it comes to recruiting and hiring public servants, we must seek the best and always use meritocratic methodology and fair labor practices. Speaker, we see this in DA governments like Midvaal, Umgeni, Kocha, and the City of Cape Town. This is perhaps why the DA-led Cape Town Metro has recorded a staggering 43,000 new jobs between October and December last year. Colleagues, Stats SA's labour reports reveal that 363,000 new jobs have been created in Cape Town since the beginning of our municipal term, November 2021. And Nedbank's latest capital expenditure project listing report states 60% of all job-creating government projects have been projected within the boundaries of the City of Cape Town. Staggering. Meanwhile, up the road in DA-led Midvaal, the local government has achieved its 10th consecutive clean audit and continues to attract investment, new business, and new jobs. These governments are managed by capable, innovative, and apolitical officials, many of them actually coming from the city of Johannesburg. These governments have qualified senior officials that actually have scorecards, and these senior officials ensure that all their staff have scorecards, while also making sure that their employees are duly monitored, trained, coached, mentored, and recognized and rewarded for their work. Speaker, unfortunately, I'm sure you're aware many employees in the city don't have scorecards and are therefore not rewarded financially or in terms of leave days at the end of the year. Speaker, we cannot allow unethical cronyism within the city of Johannesburg, as it often leads to mismanagement, poor performance, and employee abuse. We also know it leads to various forms of corruption, which ultimately affects the living standards of our residents. That is precisely why the DA has consistently fought to abolish and outlaw so-called cadre deployment and expose governments and political leaders that practice this form of political interference. Speaker, the Merriam-Webster dictionary describes cronyism as partiality to cronies, especially as evidence in the appointment of political hangers-on to office without regard to their qualifications. To the residents of the City of Johannesburg, the DA will not allow hangers-on. The DA only wants the best for you. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Nguze.
Thank you, Speaker. Maybe this council must no longer go to Cape Town for benchmarking. Let me.
Councillor Bricktown and whoever else is sorry, Councillor Nguze. Can we please just stop this?
Let me expand, Speaker, why I'm saying that. If you take City of Johannesburg and Cape Town, City of Johannesburg have more residential buildings compared to Cape Town, the inner city in Cape Town. So Cape Town is more of office parks or spaces and hotels. So you do not have residential buildings in Cape Town. So that is the difference. That is why then Cape Town will be cleaner compared to City of Johannesburg. But it is not best city. And maybe because we do spend time, some of us in Cape Town, it's not that it is best city, but there must be a debate exactly, because if you go to VNA, you will see homeless individuals. There are also many. But they are also suppressing the NGOs. You know the series that we, Obosiri and other NGOs that are here in the city of Johannesburg, they are suppressed in Cape Town. That is a fact. That is why these things are not exposed, because certain NGOs are suppressed. I think it was only recently when there was a matter between PRASA and the city of Cape Town where we were exposed to certain things. But there is a suppression of NGOs in the city of Johannesburg, in the city of Cape Town. That is a fact. That is why we are always on the media, because these NGOs are many in the city of Johannesburg. However, Speaker, let's then go and address the issue of the recruitment or commencement of the recruitment of the ED. The African National Congress do support that we commence with the process. I thank you.
MMC Masuku.
Thank you, Speaker. We ask Council to approve the report. Thank you.
Is the item agreed to? The yeses have it. Councillor Christians.
Thank you, Chair. Can the DA's objection to this report be noted? Thank you.
Thank you. Item is carried.
Councillors, we are on item 37, which is commencement of recruitment and selection process for the Executive Director of Environment and Infrastructure Services Department position.
Councillor Nhlapo from the EFF.
Greetings, Speaker, Mayor, and all councillors in the House. The EFF agrees to the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kheletsani from the DA.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to item 37, commencement and recruitment of the selection process for the Executive Director of EISD. Greetings to the DA caucus, all political parties, officials, staff, guest presence in the gallery, and residents of the city of Johannesburg, all protocol observed. Speaker, the DA welcomes the recruitment process for the Executive Director of the EISD department acknowledging the importance of ensuring transparency and integrity in the selection process to prevent any form of undue influence or political interference. Speaker, EISD plays a pivotal role in the development of any country, city, and its residents. And Johannesburg is no different. Speaker, governments worldwide recognize the significance of appointing individuals who are independent, highly qualified, merit-based, apolitical, and results-oriented in key positions within departments and entities, ensuring they are responsible for essential infrastructure and services. Speaker, also to remind you that where the DA govern in cities like our DA flagship in Cape Town, Midvaal, Umgeni, to name but a few, we prioritize good governance. And the appointment of highly skilled professionals, our track record speaks for itself. Speaker, the appointment of ED of EISD is critical and should not be taken lightly. It requires someone with expertise and dedication, not someone randomly selected or influenced by a cadre deployment policy, committee, or a WhatsApp group. Speaker, in addition to the concerns raised about the recruitment process and government practices, it is imperative to address the dire state of our city's infrastructure. The city of Johannesburg is currently facing significant challenges in maintaining essential services, such as electricity and water supply. Our infrastructure is crumbling, and residents are experiencing frequent power outages and disruptions in water supply, which are fundamental to the functioning of any city. Speaker, this situation not only hampers daily life, but also poses serious risks to public health, safety, and economic stability. It is clear that urgent action is needed to address these infrastructure deficiencies and ensure the uninterrupted provision of basic services to all residents. Speaker, quite exciting, I recently came across a media statement dated 25 February 2024, which announces the appointment of members to the disciplinary board. Speaker, while this is a positive step towards upholding financial integrity and accountability within the municipality, it raises questions about the past failures in preventing corrupt practices and wasteful expenditure. Speaker, for too long, the city of Johannesburg has allowed a culture of unethical cronyism to thrive, leading to financial mismanagement, looting of public funds, and cadre deployment. It is time for accountability and a commitment to good governance. Speaker, as I conclude, I see Councillor Rapport is looking at me. Okay, he's not talking. Speaker, as I conclude, some years back, I think the former president of African National Congress, I think there was former President Jacob Zuma, said the ANC will rule until Jesus comes. Speaker, I want to announce today that Jesus will be here on the 29th of May to make sure that the DA governs. Thank you, Speaker.
You are out of order.
Councillor, for some of us that are Christians, we don't want to entertain that statement. To be honest, we don't want to. And there are pastors that are sitting in the gallery. We really don't want to entertain that. And I'm not asking you to say anything after I've said, but I'm offended by what you said as a Christian. Councillor Rapadu.
Madam Speaker, good afternoon. To the leader of the ANC caucus, Comrade Dada Morero, to our esteemed MMCs, the beautiful councillors of the ANC, Madam Speaker, yeah, and Councillor Christians. Thank you. With the tops, I love the tops. Madam Speaker, I don't want to belabor the point because this should be a celebration. We should be celebrating that at least this government is moving in the right direction. It's moving in the right direction because when we got here, there were a lot of acting positions that were there in the city of Johannesburg. So when there's good work that has been done, we need to applaud it. We need to hold each other and make sure that the winners out of all this process will be the residents of the city of Johannesburg. That's why I'm standing to say thank you to the GLU, thank you to the MMC for making sure that we fast-track all these acting positions to be filled. Because the money that we spend on acting allowances could be better spent somewhere else. So we want permanent people, people who are not fit for purpose, because those ones are lapdogs. They do what they are told. I'll withdraw lapdogs now, before you. But they are not genuine to the cause. They are there to serve those that have put them in those positions. So we want people that will be there, that will make sure that they put the citizens of Johannesburg first, and make sure that those people are capable. Whoever that person might be, we will support them in making sure that we turn around this department and we make sure that City Power, the Environment Department and everything gets to work for the benefit of our residents. That's all. No political speech. Thank you, MMCs. Thank you, GLU, for making sure that we are moving in the right direction by filling all these vacant positions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rapadu. MMC Masuku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The comments from fellow councillors are noted, and I think what's important is that everybody appreciates that when the contracts are about to end, we start with the recruitment process. We don't wait until a contract ends and then we start. So legislation allows us, COCTA, SALGA permits 6 months before a contract ends, you may begin with the recruitment process. And we're doing that for the sake of stability, especially at a senior management level. We do ask Council to approve the commencement. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, MMC. Is the item agreed to? Thank you. Item is agreed to.
We are now on item 39, which is acting arrangements for senior managers, section 56.
Councillor Ramaru, not in the house. Councillor Ngwenya, EFF.
Speaker, I greet you. Greetings to the MMCs, more so the MMCs deployed by EFF. Extension to the rest of the councillors, guests, not forgetting the most important, the community we serve. Speaker, once more, as EFF, we highly appreciate the GLU for the openness that it had shown this council, and such is seen on item 39. MMC of GCSS, Councillor Masuku Siabohaku. We truly see the good governance here and noting all 4 points on the recommendation. However, let me add a few words of advice to it. At Moses Mapida, a clear and direct manifesto to change the lives of City of Johannesburg residents, as well as the rest of South African, was delivered. And now we are waiting just a few steps to deliver the one and only, the revolutionary, the Commander-in-Chief, Julius Silo Malema, as the President of this country by a decisive vote, for the EFF on the 29th of May 2024. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Injalo, aichigi, injalo nje. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor P. Shange from the ANC. Councillor Shange, not in the house. MMC Masuku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We ask Council to...
Councillors, please.
Thank you, Speaker. We request Council to approve the report, of course, with the intention of making sure we minimize acting arrangements in our institution. Thank you.
Thank you, MMC. Is the item agreed to? Thank you. The item is carried. Did I see a hand at the back? Okay. Okay, we are now done with the elevated items. We are now back to our agenda, starting with item 1. MMC Masuku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You'll recall that these items came to Council in August last year, and the executive did request to withdraw them, and Section 79 also requested an opportunity to peruse the items. We request that the items be read together on record, and of course, through your process, you will still call the relevant speakers, because these are items that have gone through Section 79, and the speakers, when we checked, are actually similar in their form. If Council agrees, we would be highly appreciative.
Councillor MMC Masuku, if I heard you well, that from item 1 up to item 14 be read together. And then remember item 7 and item 13 is withdrawn. So it's, yeah. So from item 1 to item 14 be read together, but then only 7 and 13 is out. Is that, can we agree to that? Okay, just hold on. Just hold on before you agree. MMC Masuku?
You are correct, Madam Speaker. Then you will minus those. And then if you check from item 16 to 29, it's then also the same speakers, different to 1 to 14. So if then from item 16 to 29, those can be read together as well. So all the property items. So you just minus 7 and 13.
Okay, you are saying from 16 to 29. What happens to item 15? It's from item 15 to item 29 will be read together, and it's all the same speakers. Can we then, Councillor Butkow?
Thank you, Speaker. If you have a look, item 25 has got a different speaker on. That's myself. And there's 1 or 2 other items that have got different speakers on. So please take that into account.
Well, you'll talk to the item because others will talk, but then we will call you that's not in those other items. So we'll do that. We will give everybody a chance. We cannot not give people a chance. Councillor Rainton, we'll do that. Thank you, Councillor. So can we do that? Okay, thanks.
Councillors, item 1 is proposed lease of a portion of F671 Cosmos City, also read together with item 2, which is proposed long-term lease of F13116 Ivory Park Extension 12 for business purposes. Also read together with item 3, which is acquisition of Ervin 87 and 88 in Berrier for housing development and use purposes. Also read together with item 4, which is proposed long-term lease and development of F9467 and 9468 Stratford Extension 6 Township for community purposes. Also read together with item 5, which is proposed list of F4825 in Tsepong, in Tsepisong Township. Also read together with item 6, which is the proposed list of F163 in Rotherport North for community purposes. Also read with item 8, which is the list of F3822 Ivory Park Extension 6 for community facility development purposes. Also read with item 9, which is the list of commercial train shops situated on the F1048 and 1068 in Fortsbeck. Also read with item 10, which is registration of electrical servitude over the remainder of the farm register 388 IQ in favor of ESCOM. Also read with item 11, which is the proposed lease of a portion of a road reserve adjacent to F1037 Johannesburg. Also read with item 12, which is the proposed lease of portion of the road reserve adjacent to EF 1214 Discovery Extension 5 for gardening and parking purposes. And also lastly read with item 14, which is the proposed lease of F1715 in Blackberry for parking purposes.
Councillor Telekwa, EFF.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings, Speaker, and the 29 progressive forces of the left, led by Bapela Rasirute and the hard-working Chief Whip, Thabiso Mohapi. As EFF, we will approve all the items that are combined, but we have a little bit of an issue. In what you call Cosmos City, there's a street name where we will be, where the ERF is positioned, or it is. It's called USA Avenue. It's named after USA. And we are talking about the founder of imperialism, a country that has killed brown people more than natural disaster, viruses, natural death, even accidents. The country that breed apartheid. So I think we must look into that. Because, oh, by the way, as an EFF, we would like maybe in the coming council to raise a motion to change the street name to Libya Avenue, to do away with this USA Avenue. USA Avenue in a black community is like going to a Jewish community and name one of their streets Nazi Germany. It's such a disaster. It's uncalled for. Not after the atrocities that blacks we went through under the USA. So we must deal with it. It's very much important. And also, as we are leasing these structures, can we empower the have-nots? Let's use intergovernmental relations to empower youth and the unemployed when leasing these properties, like partnering with CEDA, NEF, DTI, or any other department, whether provincial or national, that offers grants or funding. We have an ED center that help the underprivileged to open companies or to register companies. Just imagine if we take that, we take a young girl or an unemployed lady there in Ivory. We help her as an economic development department to register his or her company, and then we hold her by the hand. We get grants or funding, and then he's able to rent or to lease that property. Because currently, these properties will be leased to those who don't have money. What about the poorest of the poorest in our communities? They will never even look at what we are doing here. So, Speaker, as an EFF, we do approve. Thank you. We agree.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bolani.
Greetings, Speaker. Greetings to the Leader of Caucus, Councillor Dada Morero, fellow MMCs, progressive councillors in this House. Speaker, I would like to speak on item 1 to 29 with exclusion of 7 and 13. I'll start by quoting former late President
Councillor,
Tata.
just hold on. We had item 1 to 14 read out now. So you're speaking on items 1 to 14 now. Thank you.
Okay, I'll speak on item 1 to 14, Speaker. I would like to quote on the late President Tata Nelson Mandela when he said, I quote, it looks impossible till it's done. When the new year starts, we always have high hopes, fresh ideas, new energy, and batteries fully recharged and ready to conquer the world. Talking is always a good endeavor, but springing into action is something else. I'm raising this, Speaker, because we don't want to see all residents of Johannesburg being subjected to a treatment that was seen in what we have always witnessed when we visit Western Cape, when we see people from Makaza, Valara Park, Kukuletu, Kaelija. Hence, we are asking and persuading the council to approve of all this acquisition of these entities. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Volskut. Councillor Bolani, your mic.
Greetings, Madam Speaker. Greetings to the Mayor. Greetings to the PA Caucus Leader, incoming Premier Councillor Conny Kunene, Chief Whip Councillor, Chief Whip Councillor Rafferty, all MMCs and councillors present. I need to speak on item 9, the ERF 1049. The ERF 0148 and 1068 is occupied by foreign nationals, whom is generating income on a daily basis by rendering its services to the citizens in the Republic of South Africa. However, the income has no flow into the community of Fortsburg's economic, neither to its country, meaning that monies are made to flow out of this country, having which cannot be correct, as these people does not even pay tax. If only these two ERF numbers are generating a great amount of money daily, what about other foreigners who own companies? For these few reasons, I've highlighted in our caucus leader and incoming Premier, Councillor Conny Kunene, who we have full confidence in, stands to ensure that South Africans benefit from any lease or plans for development. abahambe. Salute.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Friesling.
Greetings, Madam Speaker, PA Caucus, incoming Premier Ken, Councillor Kenny Kunene, our handsome Chief Whip, Councillor Rafferty. As the Patriotic Alliance, we support this report as it seeks to address the issues of safe spaces. The sad reality, though, is that other stakeholders run out of motivation when applying for such agreements due to internal red tape and lack of urgency when assessing applications. These agreements must only assist South African citizens. Salute PA, salute, as we maintain our stance. Abehambe.
Thank you, Councillor Friesling. Are the items agreed to? Thank you. Sorry, MMC Mnisi. Apologies.
We note the comments. You are very ambitious. Greetings, Madam Speaker, the leader of ANC Caucus, the Chief Whip, Mr. Zungu, Chairperson of Section 79 Economic Development, bonke abotinzalo abahleli ngapha kwa left. Good afternoon. Madam Speaker, we have noted all the inputs by the councillors and we request the council to approve the reports. Thank you.
Councillor Moisane.
What's
Hi, Paul. Hey. Are the items agreed to? Thank you.
Councillors, we are now on item 15, which is a lease of earth 3527 in Braamfontein for community purposes, read together with item 16, which is alienation of remaining extent of portion 2 of earth 84 in Daba. Also read together with item 17, which is the proposed lease of portion 244 of the farm Braamfontein 53 IR for parking purposes. Also read together with item 18, which is acquisition of Erven 627 and 628 Zanspruit, extension 15 for Zanspruit housing development. Also read together with item 19, which is acquisition of Erven 512, 513, 514, 515, 2762, RE of portion 1 of F645 and the remainder of F2825 in Jefferstown for housing development and use purposes. Also read together with item 20, which is sale of F8300, Stratford Extension 3 Township, read together with item 21, which is the lease of F21804, previously known as F14484 in Ivory Park Extension 13 for community purposes. Also read together with item 22, which is the proposed lease of a portion of F15778 Ivory Park Extension 13, formerly known as Eco City Village for business and community related purposes. Read together also with item 23, which is the proposed sale of F34 City Deep Extension 1. Read together with item 24, which is an acquisition of various land parcels within President Park Agricultural Holdings for housing development purposes. Also read together with item 25, which is the proposed lease of portion F1008 Olivedale Extension 21 for business purposes. Read together with item 26, which is alienation of F4020 Braamfontein Extension 3. read together with item 27, which is the lease of a portion of F50, City Deep Extension 1 for business purposes, read together also with item 28, which is the acquisition or expropriation of an electrical servitude over the portion 40 RE for the farm in Johannesburg 190 IQ. And lastly, read together with item 29, which is the acquisition of various properties along Mining Belt Corridor, which is the main reef strip in Royal Port, for mixed-use housing development.
Thank you, Acting Secretary. Councillor Talekwa from the EFF.
Speaker, it's Councillor Molala. Thank you.
Item 15 is yourself, eh?
No, when they are, Councillor Molala, please.
Okay.
Ke a leboga, Speaker. Greetings to the party leader, the chief whip, and the chief whip of the EFF, and the entire battalions of the EFF. Firstly, let me invite you to watch the Gauteng Provincial Manifesto Rally of the EFF taking place at Dobsonville Stadium on the 2nd of March, 2024. Because we don't bus people from other provinces like other organizations. Because we don't want stampede. So therefore, as the EFF, we approve all the leasing reports. Speaker, also note item 20 and 23, the descending view of the EFF. Let's not sell, but lease. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Molala. Councillor Bolani, ANC.
Equally, Chair, we don't fill stadium with foreign eyes. Thank you very much.
Greetings, Speaker, again, and greetings to councillors. It's so unfortunate, Speaker, that the non-actioners, they've cancelled because they're one way making noise about this item. Because this item has long been in the desk of a former MMC Mbundu. But thanks to having an MMC that is progressive, we approve the report. Thank you, Speaker.
Councillor De Lange.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good day, colleagues. All protocol observed. Speaker, I would like to speak shortly on item 19 and item 29. If I can just focus on item 19 shortly, Speaker. If we look at this item, it's basically about 4 stands in Jeppe Town and 2 blocks of flats. The one is Milner House and the other one is John Page House, close to the Jeppestown station and also very close to the Mabuneng precinct, which the committee has visited many times over the years. What is a bit concerning is that there was another item that served on Section 79 for a building in Berea that we're looking on purchasing after it's been renovated for 30 million, but it's not on the agenda. That would have played nicely into what I'm trying to debate on here. The allocated budget for this is 15 million rand. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but if you look at the housing development in this specific precinct, I always ask the question that why are these funds? I understand that we must look at housing stock, especially student stock within the city because we've got a housing shortage. But why don't we allocate these funds, because it is not from grant funding, it emanates directly from the Department of Housing or from JPCs, depending on where the budget emanates from, for maintenance. If you look at the private sector, Speaker, if you've got a property portfolio, you would rather spend money on maintenance of existing stock. And as we know, a lot of the existing stock within the city of Johannesburg is dilapidated. It's not even up to OHASA standards. But there's people in there. Why don't we first fix what we have, and then we're looking at buying new building and new properties to actually turn into housing stock. That is on item 19. On item 29, it's a bit more lengthy, Speaker. I'm timing myself here. If we look at this item, We're looking at 290 hectares on the main reef corridor known as the mining belt or the mining corridor within the city. In 2011, IMBO Consulting and Aerocon was appointed to do a feasibility study on the mining corridor. So we're looking at 13 years ago. They basically started the feasibility study. If it comes to the risk element of these properties, they were earmarked solely for electricity line servitudes, for gas servitudes, and they are currently zoned for mining purposes only. You'll see where I'm going with this, Speaker. Out of the 290 hectares, 69 hectares was identified for mixed development, commercial mix, and about 43 hectares for residential developments. That brings us to about a 50% for residential development on the area that yield about 4,500 residential properties. It's a wonderful project on paper, Speaker, but there is problems with this. At this stage, the value for the purchase is not available, so we don't know how much money will be spent. On the flip side of the coin, the one side of the coin, it speaks that it will come from the Urban Settlement Development Grant, and we know the city is struggling with grant funding currently. And then it says, a few pages further down, that the Housing Department has allocated budget from the 21-22 budget vote, that is commitments to spend money on this specific development. But then again, we don't know how much must be done. But where the crux of the matter comes, Speaker, is that this specific development sits squarely on mining properties that were utilized for dumping. I've got 6 minutes, thank you, Speaker, I'm timing myself. So our concern is, are these properties actually safe for residential development? If you look at the geotechnical report that was done in 1996, long before Zama started digging up those parts of Roodepoort. It states the following on page 40, 41, and 55, and then I'll finish, Speaker. On page 40, it speaks about what is the composition of the structure of the earth beneath this. Then it says, further to this, it is a concern that further investigations must be done because of any mining activities back in 1996 are less depth than 240 meters. You cannot build residential houses on that. The city hasn't done due diligence, Speaker. That hasn't been done, especially with the Zamas in that specific area. Above 244 meters, you cannot build there anymore because the earth and the carrying weight of the earth will not be enough. Further to this, it also speaks that it's a concern to the 2011 report that it is a mining belt.
11 seconds.
Okay, and then, Speaker, they speak about wetlands. Nothing has been done on the wetlands, and then the northern side of this development is a slime dump. That puts the whole development in jeopardy if it comes to poisonous underground water. It comes to cancerous things that could happen with residents if they are placed in that specific area. The city must do due diligence, Speaker. We cannot go forward with this project because we haven't done all the environmental impact studies. There's a lot of studies that are still outstanding before we can put residential developments down. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Butkow.
Madam Speaker, I'm going to speak to item 25, which is a commercial property in Olivedale. I was not going to mention Cape Town, and I wouldn't want to talk about it because it's going to make certain councillors on the other side cry. However, especially as so many people are semigrating to Cape Town because of our commercial situation, I had to mention it. Madam Speaker, the officials putting together some of our items before this council make our jobs extremely difficult. As the ward councillor for this item, I must say that I've been looking forward to having this item come to council. It refers to a minute portion of the property which also houses a shopping centre and a petrol station as well as offices and a gym. Thus, I can say in principle I'm in support of this item. However, Madam Speaker, the amount of inaccuracies in the documents give rise to other considerations. The description of adjoining properties refers to a community centre, which is wrong, as it's only a library and adjacent to it there is a tennis club. It then talks of a monthly rental of 6,100 rand for the empty portion in question, which is about 80
Councillor
square
Butkow,
meters.
can you take your seat? Councillor Rapadu.
To disturb you. Sorry. I might have misheard Councillor Butkow. I thought Councillor Butkow was a PR councillor, but he said he's a ward councillor. So I just wanted to know, I'm asking for clarity. Don't bite my head off.
Councillors, can we allow the councillor to ask the question?
I must ask,
and then we'll give clarity?
Don't catch feelings. I'm asking. Okay.
Councillor Rapadu, carry on.
Yes. So I was asking, last time I checked, he was a PR councillor. So if he's a ward councillor, maybe I might be mistaken. I'm sorry for disturbing him. So I thought he misled council. No? Thank you.
Councillor Butkow, are you a ward councillor and where?
Madam Speaker, quite honestly, Councillor Rapadu seems to have looked the last time way before 2021. I'm the ward councillor for 101. So please, thank you.
But no, you don't have to say it so aggressively.
How would you like me to say it? Oh, I'm so sorry that you haven't bothered to check. Thank you.
Councillor Butkow, can you carry on with your item, please?
I said, I was saying, it then talks about a monthly rental of 6,100 rand for the empty portion in question, which is about 80 square meters. However, the valuation of the property is given as 7.24 million, which is totally incongruous. It is because of these inaccuracies that we cannot just pass this highly welcome item. Furthermore, we cannot ignore these little inaccuracies, as they have a habit of forming the basis for bigger and somehow dubious transactions in the future, as have just been uncovered and are in the media in respect of other dealings by JPC. And I'm referring to IRF 2612 Jabulani Extension 1. I must therefore ask that this item be recalled and the mistakes rectified before it is placed before us again for approval. I must also say that it would be highly appreciated if officials took more care in their work and presented us with accurate paperwork, especially as these are legally binding documents. If this can't be rectified by the administration, please remember that on the 29th of May, you, the citizens, can rectify this. I thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Butkow. Councillor Murray. Is Councillor Murray in the House?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, fellow councillors, council officials, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I will be speaking in relation to item 29, the acquisition of various properties along Mining Belt Corridor, Main Reef Strip, Roodepoort for mixed-use housing development. A reading of the report reveals that of the 6 properties mentioned, which it is intended to develop for mixed tenure residential development, 3 already belong to the city. It is thus the acquisition of 3 properties in respect of which approval is being sought. All of these properties are currently owned by Rand Leases Properties Proprietary Limited. However, they form the lion's share of the properties, some 274 hectares of the 290 hectares in question. We are all aware of the acute revenue challenges which the city is currently facing, and that all departments and entities have been requested to rebase their budgets. Accordingly, it is incumbent upon us to approach any acquisition by the city with a jaundiced eye. It is a concern that no market valuations have been provided for the properties which it is proposed to acquire. Indeed, this council is asked to give a blank cheque to the Johannesburg Property Company in terms of the recommendations to acquire them at a still-to-be-determined value, it being stated that the actual cost for the properties will be determined by the appointed valuer once the report has been approved. A scrutiny of the report by Imbo Consulting Management and Oricon reveals that of the 3 properties in question, the largest property the remaining extent of portion 42 of the farm Braamfontein number 233, representing 175 of the 274 hectares, is not considered suitable for high-density residential development from a geotechnical point of view. In regard to all three properties, it is stated that the properties are only practically suitable for high-density residential development. This is a further concern because it does not appear that the proposed development is to be accompanied by the creation of employment opportunities for the future occupants. It should be mentioned that in the area there is a large informal settlement, and part of the motivation for the proposed development is to accommodate the inhabitants. There has already been considerable provision by the City of housing in the immediate vicinity, particularly the Flairhof development, and bringing more people into formal housing in the area without the provision of economic opportunities creates a risk that the city will struggle to maintain the development. It is doubtful that there will be reliable income streams being generated from the lease of the proposed rental accommodation. Reference is made to the fact that some of the properties are subject to a number of servitudes that crisscross the properties and other restrictions such as mineral rights that must either be cancelled or realigned or consent be obtained to free the properties of these restrictions. This will have a cost and time implication for development. While it is stated that the funding for the land acquisition would be made available under the Urban Settlement Development Grant through the Human Settlements budget, the confirmation of budget availability by the relevant department was given more than 2 years ago under a letter of 27 October 2021. Given the current budgetary challenges in all spheres of government, one would have expected that an updated confirmation of funding availability would have been made available. Indeed, it appears that the current available budget under human settlements will not cover the full anticipated costs of the acquisition. In the light of this, the acquisition can only proceed if the discharge of the liability for payment and other costs of acquisition are spread over more than the current financial year. The Executive needs to confirm that this is what is envisaged and that there will be no budgetary blowout. It is pointed out in the report that the grant would not cover the town planning processes and other special studies deemed necessary due to the fact that mining operations have taken place and in some instances are still taking place on the properties in question. The report highlights that there is undermining and that the resultant prospect of subsidence could severely restrict the development which can take place on the properties. It is imperative that these studies are done before any agreement to acquire these properties is finalized. The costs of these studies need to be factored into the determination of the value of these properties and the purchase price. It is noted that the Human Settlements Department has been consistently failing to effect essential repairs to its existing housing stock, a particular case in point being the flats in the suburbs of Claremont, Newlands, Nuclear and Westbury. The excuse is that there is no budget available for the repair and rehabilitation of these buildings. These buildings are in a shocking state and have been in this condition for decades. While appreciating the need to provide additional housing and give residents dignity by formalizing their living circumstances, as is envisaged in this development, the department should not be seeking to acquire undeveloped land and the approval of the expenditure required to acquire it at the expense of its existing tenants who continue to live in squalor at great risk to their health and, in some cases, real danger to their lives. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Mnisi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me first welcome the inputs made by the councillors on the reports tabled for Council's approval. As the government of local unity, we are determined in improving the lives of our residents through initiatives that will boost the city's economy. Madam Speaker, in order for the Housing Department, or rather the Human Settlement Department, to implement the inner city housing strategy, the acquisitions of the properties as listed in the item 19 is necessary. Hence, a budget of 15 million has been set aside for this purpose. It must be stated, Madam Speaker, that an independent valuer will be appointed to determine a fair market price for the listed properties. We therefore request Council to approve all these reports so that we are able to take the process forward. As I sit down, Madam Speaker, I urge everyone that on the 29th of May, 2024, they vote for the glorious movement to accelerate the transformation that will benefit all our esteemed residents. Thank you.
Thank you, MMC. Are the items agreed to? With the recommendations? Thank you. The items are agreed to. That was not an item, Councillor. Councillor Butkow?
Please note our dissent on item 25. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor De Lange?
Please register the Freedom Front's dissent on item 19 and 29. Thank you, Speaker.
Noted, Councillor.
Councillors, we proceed with item 30, which is the draft process plan for the development of the 2022-23 oversight report of the City of Johannesburg Legislature.
Member in charge, Councillor Raserute. Councillor Raserute, before you proceed, on my right-hand side, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of, we're making a noise this side. Can we settle on this side? Please, councillors, we are almost finished. Then you can fellowship.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and greetings to all councillors in the House. Stand before
Councillor, can you speak into the mic, please?
So you can't hear me, Speaker. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I stand before you to table the report and request Council to note the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member in charge, Councillor Raserute. Councillor Serrane, EFF.
Thank you, Speaker. Revolutionary greetings to the EFF caucus leader, Councillor Bapela Raserute, our whip, Councillor Tabisa Mohapi, our two capable MMC, Dr. Mgini Chwaku, and our nurse, Sister Enima Kafula. Speaker, and the residents of Johannesburg at large, I rise to speak on item number 30,